On July 21, 1976, a wave of mysterious pneumonia crashed into the bustling convention center of the American Legion's annual gathering in Philadelphia, leaving a trail of fever, coughing, and death that would baffle doctors for weeks. Within days, the hotel's grand ballroom, filled with veterans and their families, became a silent battlefield where a hidden killer slipped through the air conditioning ducts, turning a celebration into a nightmare. By the end of August, the outbreak had claimed 34 lives and sickened more than 200 attendees, making it the deadliest epidemic of its kind in modern American history. The American Legion Convention was no ordinary event. Every summer, thousands of retired servicemen converged on the Bellevue Stratford Hotel, a sprawling Art Deco masterpiece perched along the Delaware River, its gleaming marble lobbies and polished wood panels a symbol of post-war prosperity. In 1976, the hotel's state-of-the-art air conditioning system promised cool comfort for the sweltering July heat, but beneath its humming coils lay a stagnant reservoir of warm water, a perfect breeding ground for an unseen pathogen. When the first Legionnaire reported a high fever, chills, and a relentless cough, physicians at the Pennsylvania hospital assumed a typical influenza outbreak. Yet the patient's lungs filled with a thick, grayish exudate that refused to clear, and standard antibiotics proved useless. Within a week, the hospital's intensive care unit was flooded with men whose breathing sounded like a rusty bellows, their oxygen levels plummeting despite aggressive treatment. The disease's rapid progression, coupled with its striking concentration among convention attendees, forced epidemiologists to suspect a common source. Enter the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which dispatched a team of detectives in white coats led by Dr. Joseph McDade. Their investigation read like a forensic crime scene. They cataloged every room, traced the flow of water through the hotel's cooling towers, and even collected samples from the bathroom sinks and the humidifiers that misted the ballroom. The clue that finally cracked the case emerged from a seemingly innocuous piece of evidence, a swab taken from the hotel's air conditioning condensate pan that, under the microscope, revealed a legion of tiny, rod-shaped bacteria thriving in the warm, mineral-rich water. The organism, later named Legionella pneumophila, was a brand new addition to the pantheon of known pathogens. Its discovery forced microbiologists to rewrite textbooks, as the bacterium defied classification and resisted the antibiotics that had saved countless lives just months earlier. The CDC's painstaking work, involving culture techniques that required the precise temperature and humidity conditions of a hotel's cooling system, finally yielded a pure isolate that could be studied in the laboratory. The revelation that a single bacterial species could cause such a devastating form of pneumonia sent shockwaves through the medical community and sparked a worldwide hunt for similar outbreaks. The legal fallout was equally dramatic. Victims' families, grieving and angry, filed a massive civil suit against the Bellevue Stratford Hotel and the manufacturers of its air conditioning components, alleging negligence and failure to maintain safe water systems. The courtroom became a theater of scientific testimony, where Dr. McDade and other experts explained the bacterium's life cycle, its propensity to colonize biofilms, and the hotel's lapses in routine cleaning. While the hotel ultimately settled for an undisclosed sum, the case set a precedent, compelling hotels, hospitals, and office buildings to reevaluate their water management practices. No criminal trial ever ensued, but the civil proceedings underscored a new era of accountability for environmental health hazards. Autopsies performed on the deceased provided a grim, microscopic portrait of the disease. Pathologists noted a characteristic necrotizing bronchopneumonia, with alveoli filled with fibrinous exudate and clusters of inflammatory cells. Staining techniques revealed intracellular organisms within macrophages, a telltale sign of Legionella's stealthy invasion. In one particularly stark case, A 68-year-old veteran's lungs were so saturated with pus that they resembled a sponge. The tissue collapsed under its own weight, and the heart strained against the oxygen deficit. These findings not only confirmed the clinical diagnosis, but also offered a visceral reminder of how a single organism could hijack the human body's defenses. In the months that followed, the United States grappled with the implications of the outbreak. The CDC established a dedicated Legionella program, funding research into the bacterium's genetics, its resistance mechanisms, and the best ways to eradicate it from man-made water systems. New regulations mandated regular testing of cooling towers, hot water tanks, and decorative fountains, and the concept of water safety plans entered the lexicon of public health. Hospitals installed point-of-use filters, and manufacturers redesigned condensate pans to prevent stagnant water accumulation. The legacy of the 1976 Legionnaires Disease Outbreak extends far beyond the walls of the Bellevue Stratford Hotel. It ignited a global awareness of building-related infections, prompting the World Health Organization to issue guidelines that are still in force today. The incident also spurred advances in rapid diagnostic testing, such as urinary antigen assays that now allow clinicians to detect Legionella within hours rather than days. Moreover, the story became a cautionary tale taught in medical schools, reminding future physicians that the environment can be as lethal as any virus or toxin. Decades later, the once shocking pneumonia has become a textbook example of how a combination of vigilant epidemiology, meticulous autopsy work, and relentless legal pressure can turn a public health disaster into a catalyst for systemic change. The memory of those who fell at the Philadelphia Convention lives on in the safer water systems that now protect millions, and in the ongoing research that strives to outpace the microbes that threaten us. Subscribe to the Autopsy Files for more stories like this.